I don't know if everyone can hear my family talking about dinner in the background. That's why I'm laughing. I'm live streaming, I see. Joe?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
We are now live.
Okay, hi, we're live. Okay. So, good evening and welcome to Community Board 10 Brooklyn's General Meeting, November 15th, 2021. I'd like to start the evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do. So there's the flag, and we'll start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I would like to now call for an adoption of the agenda.
Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Do I have a second?
All right.
Stella, thank you. And an adoption of the minutes.
So moved.
Julie. And do I have I'm sorry, who yelled out a second there? Oh, Judith, thank you. And now we will move to the public session. I always say that we're going to keep it to 10 minutes. Who knows? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. So I'm going to start my list. First, let's see, who do I have signed up? We have Michael Sheldon from Councilman Justin Brannan's office. Michael, would you like to speak this evening?
Hello.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, how are you? Thank you, Lori. Just wanted to drop in quickly and say hi on the councilman's behalf. Hope everyone's well. Not too much to report. Just wanted to make sure, as always, everyone knows if you need us for anything, you can reach us by phone at 718-748-5200 or by email at askjb@council.nyc.gov. Yeah, hope you're all having a good night.
Thank you. And now we have Morris Denmark from the Brooklyn Public Library, Fort Hamilton branch.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak for a moment here. I just want to remind everyone that at this present time, the library has suspended all fines. The library and the New York Public we have decided there will be no more fines for overdue books. Of course, we still want the books back. And if you don't return the books, you will have to pay for them, but there are no fines. And when you do bring the book back, it would be cleared. And as I said, no more fines. And that's all the news we really have. We're open 6 days a week. We're down on 95 and 4th Avenue. If you don't know where we are, and stop in and say hello. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we have Donald DeRosa from New York City Controller Scott Stringer's office. Donald, would you like to speak tonight?
No updates from me, but just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Great. Oh my gosh, I think we might keep it to 10 minutes tonight. But I may be calling it early, but let's see. We have Frank Fontana from the New York City Department of Buildings. Frank.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Just two quick announcements. The local law 152, that was the periodic gas inspection. I mentioned a number of times at the previous meetings. The filing period has ended for Community Board 10. However, there was an amendment to the law that was made just recently that goes into effect the end of this month. Essentially, this pertains to any inactive line. So if there's a property that has an inactive gas line, you do not need an architect to file for that. You can just get a letter from the gas company stating that line is inactive. So that'll go into effect at the end of this month. And then once the service notice is updated, we'll share it. And then secondly, I do want to mention something about our BIS system. So if you go to newyorkcity.gov/buildings, I'm sure most people are familiar with the property profile. That's our BIS system. Just in times I do get some inquiries where people may not see a permit or something inside the biz. I also encourage people to check DLB Now. That's our newer system, and a lot of filings have been done through DLB Now. We're a lot of smaller filings, but now we are accepting all filings through DLB Now. So you'll start to see now a lot of permits that are going to be filed in DLB Now. So I would suggest if you don't see something in biz, check DLB Now as well. If for the information you're looking for. And that's it. I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have with us Basil Kapatanakis from Assembly Member Michael Tanusis's office.
Good evening, everybody. No updates, just wanted to say that the Assemblyman gives his regard to everybody. Our office is open to anyone who needs assistance. We hope that everyone has a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Everybody stay safe, and I'll put our office phone number in the chat below.
Great, thank you so much. And we also have with us Anthony Batista from Assembly Member Matilde Frontis's office. Or maybe we don't. Let me see. All right, we'll circle back. Let's see who else is with us. Richard Day from the Department of Sanitation of New York. Richard?
Great. Thanks, Lori. Hi, I'm just here to announce that fall leaf collection is coming. Normally we do 2 days of this year. This year we're only going to be doing one collection. It's going to be in December. So we're asking folks to set out their leaves that they have after 4 p.m. on December 18th for collection on December 19th or the rest of that week if something pops up. So basically we're just asking you to set out your leaves so we can collect them and turn them into compost. Yeah. So you should put your leaves out in paper, lawn, and leaf bags, or open, unlined, like rigid containers, like an empty trash bin, essentially, for collection. Shouldn't put any branches or yard clippings from any hired professionals, so no like landscaper waste. Really just stick to your leaves in paper, lawn, and leaf bags or unlined containers on December 18th after 4 p.m. I'll post a link in the chat too. But that's it. So thank you.
Great, thank you so much. We also have with us this evening Nancy Lulu from District Attorney Eric Gonzalez's office.
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Best wishes and greetings from District Attorney Eric Gonzalez to everyone. The District Attorney's office is committed to protecting our Brooklyn communities. Just wanted to urge folks to visit the Brooklyn DA's office's website at brooklynda.org to check all our press releases and to read all about the great work our office does, and also to check out our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, just to check on updates. Also, I would like to remind everyone with the Action Center's phone number, as always, if there's something you would like to bring to our office's attention, to contact 718-250-2340. And also on behalf of District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, myself and staff, I would like to wish everyone who observes Hanukkah a happy Hanukkah and also a very happy and safe Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you, Community Board 10, for all that you do. That's it.
Thank you very much. And now we have Lori Windsor from Congressperson Nicole Maliotakis' office.
Hi, everybody. Just to let everybody know, we're on 77th and 3rd, 7716 3rd Avenue to be exact. Our number is 718-306-1620. Feel free to reach out. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Tori Kelly is with us from Senator Andrew Gennardis' office. Tori?
Hi. So I actually am not Tori. I'm not sure why it joined me as Tori.
Hi, Libby.
I am from Senator Gennardis' office, and I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving on behalf of Tori Kelly and the senator.
Sorry, your name popped up. Thank you, Libby.
I apologize for that. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see. We also have with us Jessica Callow from Borough President for the time being, Eric Adams' office.
Hello. I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. That's all.
Thank you
Hi,
very much.
Jessica.
Sue.
Hello. So nice to see everyone's beautiful face.
Thank you. We also have with us Irene Chu from Assemblyman Peter Body's office.
Oh, hi, evening, everyone. Just want to bring the wishes from Assemblyman Peter Abadi. Wish everybody a safe and healthy Thanksgiving. And if there's anything, feel free to reach out to our office, 718-236-1764. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I have covered all of our electeds. I think I got everyone. If I didn't.
Lori, I
yeah.
see that we're joined by David Lewis from the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit. I know that he is
Oh,
new to
okay.
the unit.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
did not see you. Go ahead, please.
No, thank you. I'm actually trying to turn my camera on. It's saying unable to access camera, so apologies. But good afternoon or good evening, everyone. My name is David Lewis, Deputy Commissioner over at the Mayor's Office Community Affairs Unit. Thank you for having me this evening. Just two quick updates, and I apologize if I'm being repetitive. I didn't hear it while I was on. We've teamed up with the Department of Transportation along with other city agencies to provide sandbags to communities that have been impacted in the past by flash floods or storms. So over the course of this week, we'll be at different depot locations across the city providing sandbags, and I can share that information, although I believe I have already. But if you don't have it, let me know and I'll be more than happy to resend that. And then tomorrow, we're having a resource fair across the street from the Navy Yard in 240 Nassau Street at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm circling back now. I think we have Anthony Batista on from Assemblyperson Matilda Frontis's office.
Hello, everybody. How are
Hi.
you guys? Hi. Just if you guys need anything, the Assemblywoman sends her regards. She wanted to join us, but we had another meeting going on. So it's a pleasure meeting everybody. If anybody knows of anybody in our district that needs turkeys, we're having the giveaway on the 19th. You guys can feel free and have them call in the office. They can ask for me. I'll put them on the list. The number is 718-266-0267. I'll put it in the chat as well.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And now we do have a member of the public who signed up to speak, Carla Pooley.
Lori, I don't see her.
Don't see her. Let me just.
Yeah, I don't see her.
Okay, maybe she.
Do you have David Nussbaum who has his hand raised?
I don't, but we can have him now. David.
Okay.
I'm giving you a high five there, Josephine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just wishing everyone happy Thanksgiving. Like David Lewis just pointed out, we have the City Hall in your borough tomorrow. In downtown Brooklyn, we'll be there as well as other agencies. And just a reminder, like I always speak about during the winter, please, please, please make sure you have working carbon monoxide detectors and that all your heating equipment is in proper order. All right, have safe and happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. You as well.
Lori, I have a question for Assembly Member Frontis, for her rep.
Hello.
For Anthony?
Yeah. I attended her October 25th pedestrian safety meeting, which was very interesting. And at the end of the meeting, she said we would receive a recap of the meeting. I haven't gotten one.
Okay.
And my second question is, the representative from Transportation Alternatives mentioned that 86th Street and 4th Avenue are high accident. And I asked that we get a breakdown by community board so we can see what's happening here, where we can have some input. And I haven't received an answer on that either.
Okay. Can I have your contact information?
Sure. DJ Cruz 99 at msn.com.
Jenny Cruz 99 at
msn.com. msn.com.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. I'll get that information over to you. Give me about 48 hours.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. We also have a member of the public who would like to speak, Shanice Brathwaite.
Hi, good night, everyone. I am jumping on the behalf of Metro Plus Health Plan. I am a supervisor now getting into the Community Board 10 area, and I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone in the board and everyone that's in the Community 10 area. We service the people in that area in the 5 boroughs with health insurance. So if anyone knows anyone that needs health insurance, from Medicaid to qualified health plans, anyone that's coming into the country recently unemployed, pregnant, it's a wide demographic of people. But if anyone needs assistance, knows of anyone, we can be a resource. I can be a resource. I can give you my number that you can call, and I will put you in contact with someone. So my number is 917-952-4535. That's 917-952-4535. Open enrollment officially begins for qualified health plans from tomorrow, November 16th, all the way to January 31st. So I'm looking forward to hearing and working with Community Board 10.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to working with you as well. Okay, I think now we've gone through everyone on the list for public session and even those who weren't on the list. So I would like to close the public session and move on to the chair's report. Good evening and welcome to Community Board 10's November 15, 2021 General Board meeting via Zoom with live stream to the public. It seems like the colder weather is finally starting here in South Brooklyn, and our fall festivities this year are returning. We were very fortunate to have good weather for Halloween, and it was so great to see so many people out and celebrating the day. The New York City Marathon was also back this month, and it was great to see this big event return to our streets and all the runners and community members out for the event. We'll now be heading into the Thanksgiving holiday, and I would like to remind everyone of our annual food drive in honor of past board member Helen Sokolowski. And of course, with the season of Thanksgiving upon us, I ask everyone to please shop locally and support our local businesses. I do have some good news regarding the issue of noise created by cars with modified mufflers. This issue has been raised many times by various members of the board and members of the community here at our meetings. And Senator Gennardis had proposed legislation to crack down on this problem. And this month, Governor Kathy Hochul signed that bill into law. So the law provides for greater fines for those who use these modified mufflers, and also fines and penalties for those who sell them and install them, including revocation of inspection licenses for repeat offenders. So hopefully this will help provide relief and curtail this issue of noise pollution, which seems to have been growing over the past couple of years. And I thank Senator Gennardis for his work on getting this done. We have a number of informational reports on our agenda this evening, so there will be no voting tonight. And in the hope of giving you all an easy meeting, I'm going to keep this short. So as always, I thank you all for your generously donating your precious time and efforts to make our community and this city a better place. Respectfully submitted, Chair Lori Willis. And now we're on to the district manager's report. Joe.
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, board members. I too would like to thank everyone for donating to the food drive in memory of our late board member Helen Sokolowski, who was a dedicated volunteer and so passionate about the need to collect food for needy families. So I'm pleased to report that to date, CB10 members have contributed several $100s to St. Patrick's Food Pantry in loving memory of Helen. And it's still not too late to contribute or drop off canned food to the rectory located at 9511 4th Avenue. Also, the Fifth Avenue bid, Bay Ridge and Third Avenue merchants have reminded us all that Small Business Saturday is November 27th, so please shop local. And during the month of November, Community Board 10, the district office begins its interagency outreach to prepare for Diker Lights. So I know we haven't hit Thanksgiving, but we're already looking at December. So as you know, Diker Lights is an unpermitted organic event. In recent years, the community board, as well as our local city councilman, Justin Brannan, have reached out to the mayor's citywide event coordination and management team for interagency assistance. And we had an interagency meeting in October that included reps from all of the involved agencies, NYPD, DSNY, DEP, DOT, and CECM. And we are planning a final interagency meeting for further coordination. We don't really know what to expect this year in terms of the number of homeowners in the prime viewing area who will be putting up light displays. However, we do know that there are already tour bus tickets for Diker Lights being promoted online. So we are organizing to be prepared. The district office received many calls today regarding a film shoot for NCP, which is scheduled tomorrow in the northern part of Bay Ridge. And we had many calls from residents upset due to the number of parking space restrictions from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow along many blocks: Senator Street, Colonial Road, Ridge Boulevard, Colonial Road from 67 to 68, 68 between Colonial Road and Shore Road. Lots of spaces on Bay Ridge Avenue between 3rd Avenue and Ridge Boulevard, and Owl's Head Court between 68th and Bay Ridge Avenue. And I did reach out to the production company to request that only spaces that needed to be occupied would be occupied. And the manager did reach back out and understood that as well. You know, people were stopping. Some of the film crew on the streets really upset about the number of parking spaces being taken. And all permits are issued by the mayor's office of film. So we don't really have an advisory role, but we are notified of film shoots, and we do have the contact information of the production team so we can reach out with questions that we receive from the public. So I just have a few quick announcements. The New York City Department of Sanitation, in observance of Thanksgiving, there will be no garbage, organics, or recycling collection or street cleaning on Thursday, the 25th. Friday after Thanksgiving is not a city holiday, and I make this little announcement every year because each year we receive complaints from residents who do not move their vehicles for ASP parking and are summoned. So please help us spread that word, and we'll be e-blasting that out as well. The New York Redistricting Commission public hearings for Brooklyn will be held tomorrow, November 16th at 3 p.m. There's a link to sign up that was e-blasted in our newsletter on Friday and can also be found on our website. And the 68th Precinct Community Council sent out an email to let us know that they will be meeting in person for the first time since the pandemic. Tomorrow evening, Wednesday, November 17th at 7 p.m. at the Precinct Station House, 333 65th Street. The next general board meeting will be right here on Zoom on Monday, December 20th. And on behalf of us here at the district office, we'd like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. Respectfully submitted. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Josephine. And now the treasurer's report with Shirley Chin.
Thank you, Laurie. Good evening, everyone. So treasurer's report as of October 31st, 2021, our total personal services is $80,755.84. Total other than personal services is $9,320.68, leaving an unencumbered budget balance of $171,142.48. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thanks, Shirley.
You're welcome.
And now we move on to our committee reports, and we have our Traffic and Transportation Committee report with Anthony Marino.
Hello, everybody. Am I good? I'm unmuted.
Yeah, you're good.
Great. So the Traffic and Transportation Committee met via Zoom on October 25th of 2021. The meeting was well attended and was informative in nature, so no votes to be had here. The first thing we spoke about was extra layover space for the S93, which is up right now. You'll see that on the shared screen. We were joined by Melissa Farley of the MTA. The first discussion again was to talk about some additional layover space for the S93 on 4th Avenue between 87th and 88th Street in front of the Urgent Care Center. Melissa, along with her colleagues Decca from New York City Transit, shared diagrams and plans for the proposal for the proposed layover and the extension. Currently, the layover space on 4th Avenue and 86th through 88th Street accommodates the S53, the S79, which is an SBS, S93, and the B1, which is located, if you see on that map right there on 87th Street. Right now, there's only room for one bus, and they're looking to add room for a total of 2 buses. So there's one now, and they want to add an additional 60 feet of space for one more bus right there where it's being highlighted, where it says S93. So it'd be right in front. Since 2017, the increased number of trips from 4th Avenue has been 34. From CSI to Brooklyn, it's been 28 more trips. So it's a heavily used route. Service was increased, but we need an extra spot for the buses. The bus does not run on the weekends. It is just weekdays, roughly between 5:45 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and the CSI route from 6:30 a.m. to 10:34 p.m. Parking would be open when buses are not running. The expansion would be in front of the City MD Dunkin' Donuts to right before the hydrant, about 15 feet before the hydrant. No one can park there currently. So again, you can see that in the photos where they're looking to expand. So right now, the S93 sits right in front of that grocery store, and they're looking to put one more right in front. So sort of right where the door is there to the City MD. So there were some concerns. One of the first questions was why couldn't the buses be rerouted to 95th Street? As there were concerns that it's very dangerous there in the morning, very crowded. It's near very many schools, and it adds to extra congestion. There was, again, a suggestion that it be rerouted to 95th Street instead of 87th and 86th. We were told that 95th Street is currently the layover spot for the B8, and it is a stop for the B63. The MTA will be looking for feedback on transportation redistribution soon. So they were listening to what we were saying. The MTA said that they would look at 95th Street, but it would be a longer term look since they have to talk about how they would reroute all the buses. So I think in the short term, this is the faster solution for them. There was a great concern about it being in front of the medical building, since the bus would be parked there and would be in front of City MD. We were told that many times a day, should something happen, an ambulance has to show up, any kind of EMS emergency, what the concerns would be with the bus blocking that entrance. And of course, again, the proximity to public schools also putting additional strain on that area on 4th Avenue. For the most part, the response, the MTA is going to put a proposal in with the DOT, and they'll do their own assessment, and they will let the MTA know what their determination is. We may be contacted again by the DOT for additional feedback, but everyone assured us that safety would be their first concern. They asked for further discussion about the buses and welcome suggestions and submissions of ideas. So that was, I don't know if do we want to keep going, or do we want to talk about this first and then jump to the ferry? You tell me how you prefer. I can keep going. Anybody?
Keep going.
Did they
Keep
break
going?
it up
Okay, all
into
right,
2 different
'Cause it's
segments?
yeah. So all right. So that's the MTA. The next thing we talked about was. So do you want to?
Wait, let's get some questions on.
Okay,
the
that's kind of what I figured. Okay, because it's a lot.
So anybody have any comments or questions
I do.
about the buses?
Larry
I
has-
think I saw Larry's hand up.
Yeah, was that a Freudian slip saying S95 on the chart?
No,
Oh,
that was an error that the MTA on their PowerPoint. I didn't notice it until I saw it really big on the screen, Larry. That was just a typo.
No, but how frequent is the service on the S93 during the day? You know how long the headway is?
So I remember them saying, on the weekdays they go from 5:45 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and it looks like, in the last 5 years or so, they've increased, from wherever they were. I'm not sure where they were before 2017, but they've added 34 more trips And then from CSI to Brooklyn, 28 more trips. So there's certainly an increase in usage.
So it's become a rather frequent service then. It's
Yeah.
It's not just for the school. It seems to be a lot of other customers.
Very popular. Yeah. Popular route. Mhm.
Okay, I see Anne has her hand up. Anne?
Yes, during the time of the layover, is there a time limit on engine idling?
That was not something that was discussed, but we can certainly make a note of that and follow up.
Yeah, there are apartments along that stretch as well as the emergency medical. Thank you.
Okay, Doris?
You're muted.
Doris, you're on mute.
And the X27 and X37 lay over on 4th Avenue between 99th Street and 100th Street. And there is a sign there that says how long they can idle. So maybe we request that they add that sign to all layover locations.
Okay, that sounds good.
For that matter, the B1 stops around the corner at 87th Street.
Yes. Yeah, the B1 is currently on 87th.
But it just waits there. It doesn't pick up any passengers.
Right. From what I understand, a lot of the lines are at 95th Street, but the layovers are over here on 87th.
Okay. All right, I don't see anyone else with their hand up, so I think it's safe to move on to the next topic.
Great. So we also had people from the New York City Ferry, and they were there to update us about their projects. The meeting, we had Shireen and Roddy from New York City Ferry. So currently the passenger ferries with 130 to 350 people per day. It's a 7-day year-round service. Goes from 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Boats arrive every 20 to 60 minutes, depending on time and season. And the fee is $275. Oh, perfect, right there. $275, just like the subway. And you can see right now what our current map looks like. And so there are going to be some service changes. They're announcing the Coney Island route. They didn't give us an exact date. They did say by the end of the year. So hopefully in the next few weeks, the service will start from Coney Island. And that will go from Coney Island to Bay Ridge to Pier 11 Wall Street. And then you have a Coney Island to Manhattan in approximately 35 minutes. They're doing this because it's going to go straight from Coney Island to Bay Ridge and then straight to Wall Street. So they are cutting down on what would be like the local route from Bay Ridge to Sunset to Red Hook and Atlantic Avenue on the weekdays. And you can see there, oh yeah, go ahead. Next, now I'm just following the slides. So you can see there's, if you can see the shared screen where Bay Ridge is now going to go straight to Wall Street. And then to get to the local route, which they were calling it the local route, you would have to go from Wall Street back into Brooklyn. And then you can hit Atlantic Avenue, Red Hook, Sunset Park. This is going to be great for commuters, obviously, and that was kind of the focus and what they were thinking of, that a lot of the usage that Bay Ridge has had with the ferry has been commuting in the mornings and the afternoons to Manhattan. There was some feedback, of course, that people who like to use it for those local non-express stops, would like to see some coverage there. Additionally, the ferry people talked about community outreach. So they would like to partner with local schools, businesses, not-for-profits, local leaders, and more to help get the word out about the ferry and its service and continue to grow its footprint in the area. Activities could include door-to-door canvassing, tabling at local events, presenting to community groups, supporting local initiatives, school trips, and more. And they provided their contact information. We asked specifically for data to show what the gain and loss would be based on the usage. Since we are losing the local route, we're hoping that they could provide to see, how many people were using it and if there was a possibility to get that back at other times. So the Bay Ridge local usage was higher during the weekend. So they're looking to get people to the city quicker. There is no local interborough use during the week. So you'd have to go to Wall Street again and then transfer back to Red Hook or Atlantic. They're looking for more connections to the west side. Obviously, the next steps, they're looking to launch Coney Island, but they didn't give us specific dates. We, again, requested statistics on ridership reports. And then we did have a question from Jean Ryan, someone from the community, about their handicap wheelchair accessibility, safety concerns, and that the ferry only had a 2-point tie down for wheelchairs, and there should be 4. So the ferry team did say that they would follow up about that. Other ideas include full day pass, Omni integration with what would replace the Metro card, St. George access from Bay Ridge. And at that point, the meeting ended, knowing that we would get follow-ups from both the MTA and the Ferry NYC. So I tried to make that as truncated as possible. Feel free to hit me back with any other questions that you might need, but that's basically.
Okay, great. I do see hand raised. Jonathan Bova.
Yeah, so a quick question on the ferry. So is Bay Ridge going to get the local service on the weekends, or is that something they're just thinking about?
So that's what it sounded like to me, but I'm actually still even, and I just rewatched the meeting again, and I'm still a little unsure about that. Right now, it looks like the focus really is getting Bay Ridge into Wall Street. Like that's the focus. We're hoping, which is great, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But it's a great way to get to Red Hook on a Saturday.
I completely agree with you. And we reiterated that several times that like, we love that local, it's connecting parts of Brooklyn that, people love that. So I think they're going to come back to the table, hopefully with a solution. But right now it looks like with Coney Island launching, we're going to have this, what I would call like an express lane. We're looking to get that local lane, maybe at least in the summertime, back up and going.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Henry, did you have a question?
That was my question.
Okay.
I think that's everyone. Honestly, that seems to be everyone's question. Like, I think we can all agree that we love the fact that that ferry goes to Red Hook, to Atlantic Avenue. I mean, it's a great connection. So I don't think we could have reiterated that more at the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, at the meeting, I asked why they seem to be adverse to restoring a St. George to Bay Ridge ferry.
So
ran until 1964 November. So
right, and it seemed like they were experimenting with integrating Staten Island into the New York City ferry. Obviously, you have the Staten Island ferry. Right now, they added a St. George ferry to the west side, and I would imagine they're going to come back to the table with more plans. I think as long as people keep using the ferry, I imagine they're going to keep expanding. So
again, the question, the frequency, they mentioned how long that was? How often did they run?
They're running anywhere between 25 to an hour, depending on time of day and season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see. Any more hands up? I don't see any more questions. So I think that may be it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Anthony.
I do what I can.
And that concludes the TNT report. And now we are moving on to senior issues, housing, health, and welfare with Jana.
Hi, everyone. So this report's a little bit longer as well, but answer any questions that came up last meeting and any questions you think you may have. So the Senior Issues Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee of CB10 met in quorum for a meeting via Zoom on November 4th, 2021 at about 7:00 p.m. The meeting was also live streamed on YouTube for those who cannot access it via Zoom. As always, you can watch it again. To begin, it is important to note that there were 85 residents who signed up to attend the meeting, and many concerns and questions were repeated. In honor of this, I ask that everyone listen carefully to this report that will include these questions and answers in great detail, so to minimize the repetition of key information provided here. Lydia Yan Ho and Ian Yan, courtesy of the NYC Department of Social Services and Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, were present at the meeting to provide Chinese translation. Chinese translation could be heard via Zoom on a separate channel, so to ensure that the community could understand the meeting in its entirety. The building of new shelters is a part of an initiative called the NYC Department of Homeless Services Turning the Tide on Homelessness in New York City, a borough by borough plan. Extra supplemental material was emailed to committee members, so feel free to request that if needed as well. The presentation at the meeting was given orally and was in conjunction with the Department of Social Services, DHS, and WIN. The primary purpose of the meeting was to provide some background and information about the WIN shelter for families. The family shelter will sit about 121 families with children at 801 65th Street. So for the general idea of the demographics of the families, typically it'll be one parent with 2 children, 3 children sometimes. There's no limit or cap like that or anything like that. The presenters included Jocelyn Carter, a DHS administrator, Faureen Howe, an associate commissioner, and Megan Linhan and Diana Santos from WIN. WIN NYC is a program that currently runs 13 shelters and over 400 supportive housing units across NYC. So with that all being said, all of that background information, the meeting was opened by highlighting that New Yorkers are currently experiencing high levels of homelessness, and homelessness is not a crime. This issue is not particular to community, and in fact, as a result of emergency situations where people may have been evicted or survivors of domestic abuse. In fact, it was noted that 70% of the families are employed, but are simply underemployed, meaning that as the rent prices skyrocket and the wages remain the same, families are suffering tremendously. So the shelter would hold 121 families that all have children. And the idea is that these children and families have every right to a warm meal and bed to sleep on each night. To apply to be housed in these shelters, they have a center at 151st Street in the Bronx. You have to go to that location, and all individuals go through a very thorough background check. If the families are found to have another place to go to, so like an extended family member, they will not get access to any of the shelters. Typically, single adults will have access regardless. So there are also fraud investigators that conduct a 2-year housing history check on individuals that apply. DHS's end goal is to be the safe net of the safety net and to be able to provide for families that have absolutely no place to go, to give them a place to go. Mental health services are prioritized by WIN, and they are partnered up with Thrive that work with licensed clinicians, and the residents are assigned to a mental health professional and social worker as well. In addition to this, they have access to mental health and substance abuse counseling. They also work very closely with the community to refer residents to local physicians and clinicians. In their previous location, their staff has actually consisted of about 34% of workers from the community. The shelters are creating a high quality capacity for the needs of the residents with social workers, security, mental health workers, et cetera, that are readily available. The staff's goal is to have the families not need to stay for more than a year because of the resources and support they provide these families. WIN provides budget managing classes for residents and has a fully equipped pantry with constant access. The support for the children is also tremendous with available daycare and accessories that deal with any of the brain drain or trauma issues that may have come up. They also take great pride in creating a beautifully landscaped building, and oftentimes at their other locations, people cannot even tell that the center is a shelter. One of the biggest concerns was the location put for the shelter. To begin, it is very important that it is understood that at this time, there is no way to stop the building of the shelter at this location. The presenters explained that they are not in charge of finding locations, and this location was simply the one that was given to them by their provider. It was also brought up that this location was an old gas station, and it might in fact take quite some time for the location to be suitable for a building that will house children. Having said this, again, they stress that all the proper protocols must be conducted and the city must approve of all these requirements before the building is built. So while they are ambitious and aim for the building to start its construction in 1 year, they are aware that the time might be longer according to requirements met or not met. Another repeated concern was the community's need for affordable housing. It was made clear that they did not have jurisdiction over the type of building, and they again did not seek the specific space. They needed a location for a shelter, asked a provider for a space, and were given this one in particular. With that being said, they do not own the land, but WIN have a contract to operate the property. To continue on this, when asked about the actual structure of the building, it was said that they are typically looking for 200 units, and there is a small parking lot for staff so as to not compete for neighboring parking. The actual dimensions of the building are not yet confirmed. The actual rooms for the residents look like a larger studio apartment with a kitchen and bathroom so that they have space to be a family. They reassured everyone that there needs to be a clear clear from the state on the dimensions of the rooms to ensure that these families have the space they need. The size of the family will determine which room they have access to. Another big concern was how the children in the shelter will be placed in schools when the neighboring elementary, middle, and high schools are already crowded. Here it was highlighted that this is a citywide issue, and when this has been brought up at their other locations, they were able to express their concerns to DOE representatives, who responded by adding additional resources in the local schools. Staff, as a result of this demand, was increased by the partnership with DOE and WIN. Also, not all children who are moved into the shelter will leave their schooling at their previous location. Many choose to stay in their previous school and do not move into the neighboring schools. These families also typically stay in the shelter for about 1 year, so the child's instruction is disrupted as little as possible. Again, it is important to remember that every child has the right to receive an education, homeless or not. Another concern was the issue of safety and security of the community. Again, here they stress that homelessness does not equate with crime, and there have been no signs of increased crimes in their other locations. All their locations have 24-hour security, and they have worked very closely with local businesses and have provided them with a contact person if anything does happen in the area. There are security cameras around the perimeter, and they also work and create great relationships with the local precinct as well. Again, the community, the shelter is being built in becomes the residents and the staff's community as well, and they are all looking to be in a safe location. With this, I conclude by reiterating key points from this meeting. The shelter will be built in this location today, and the purpose of this meeting was to begin to create a conversation with the community. The shelter will provide outdoor and indoor recreational space for the children living in the facility. The actual building will be landscaped and will not create a negative image in the community. WIN is committed to creating community ties to better provide for everyone present. Security is provided for 24 hours with security cameras available as well. Affordable housing is needed for the community, but the need for emergency care is what is being highlighted at this time. And educational services and resources will increase as a result of a possible increase in enrollment, and every child has a right to receive an education. Overall, the meeting was informative and the concerns of the community were noted. At the end of the day, it will be important to embrace these new families as much as we can and continue to provide a safe space for our community members, old and new. The Senior Issues, Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee ended at about 9:00 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Jana Tovey. Are there any possible questions here?
I see we have Doris has her hands up.
Yes, since I was the one who raised the issue of environmental mitigation, since it had been a gas station, and they seemed unaware of it and possibly even a bit casual. So since we still have David Nussbaum on our call, is there any way to flag the site and see that this is done before anything proceeds? Or that's something we should follow, or maybe the.
Doris, I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit on my. What did you say?
This site had been a gas station and it needs environmental mitigation. And I would say the presenters were unaware or maybe even cavalier about it. And since will be a place for children, I would like to be sure that this is highlighted and there will be the appropriate environmental mitigation before any construction begins.
So the only thing I can say from the Department of Buildings perspective is sites we could see on our building information system, sites that already were tagged as environmental problems. Those are I'm not sure the entire background of who did it, whether it was through DEP or some other agency, but there are sites that are already tagged if they have any environmental concerns. I mean, I could certainly look this up to see if there's anything, I'm saying tagged, like flagged already for that. And if it was, then it's something that obviously they would need, environmental remediation. But that's something we could check out in terms of if this is something that's flagged already for that.
We would appreciate that.
And I think part of the reason too that they seemed unaware of it is because I don't think that they deal with the issues of the actual building, creating the building, the actual space of it,
right,
behind the scenes. So they'll probably have their own people for that.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would really get into, the construction of the building and, soil borings. And if they do, phase 1 or phase 2, reports. So, I mean, I think that might it might have just been a factor, you know, of they're really presenting on the operation, not really construction from the ground up. But yes, if there is any flag of contamination, which is registered, there's a whole bunch of different registries, then they would have to take care of that, I think, before a residential building could be built. Go ahead, Larry.
Any idea how tall the building's gonna be? You're on that, is it gonna be a?
No, it was
They
very
didn't-
preliminary.
yeah.
There were no plans filed.
They just said they look at about 200 units, but they don't have any dimensions yet.
How many floors that's gonna be? How many units per floor? They don't say.
No.
You know, you might be, you have a taller building at the office building at 64th and 8th Avenue. You might just almost complement the two of them.
I believe they had a similar sized building that was 8 to 10 floors that was in Park Slope that they had mentioned.
Do we know the size of the lot?
No, I mean, I'll share the screen. It's a large lot.
Yeah, no, I just thought that might, you know, they're gonna have outside space, so, you know, maybe just to back into it.
Steve Harrison has a hand raised.
Yep, Steve?
Yeah, I'm curious. I believe you said, Jonna, that there's going to be a recreation space for the resident children, correct?
Yeah, they said that they put like a space in the front.
Okay, what I'm concerned about here is that when you say that it's for the resident children, that kind of isolates them. Can they have friends that would come in and, you know, that kind of a thing? Because if it's strictly them going to be playing with kids that are from the development, then I'm a little bit concerned that means that, again, it not only isolates them, it tends to stigmatize them. And I just think that should be rethought.
We can reach out and email them and ask. It wasn't brought up at the meeting, actually, if they could, you know, bring friends or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Judy?
I just wanted to clarify, the building in Park Slope that they showed was for 400 families versus this building is for 125. 216, and then the additional building was another 200. So that they're like at 400. But ours is going to be 125.
Right.
So
thank you.
Okay. I don't see anyone else's hand up. So I think, Jana.
I think Carmen is raising her hand like in the screen though.
Oh, in the screen? Did I miss that? Carmen, go ahead.
But unmute yourself, Carmen, before you go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before I retired, I worked at 1865 Broadway. That's on 61st Street. For 10 years, there was a lot across the street that was abandoned with a fence around it that had been a car dealership and a gas station. And then a developer bought the land and he tried to circumvent certain things because there had been a gas station. It actually took longer for him to get the project done. I don't know how many times they had stop orders. And a lot of it is just health hazards. So that's something that they really can't cut corners on. And so just to be aware, that building now is like one of the most expensive luxury buildings in the city. It's like, I think it's 1 Central Park West or 15 Central Park West. I don't remember because I'm not in the area anymore, but it took a really long time to then, because they kept digging deeper and deeper. And we just couldn't believe how deep. I think they went down like almost 7 stories before they found where they could start then building a foundation to come back up. So that's something they really have to check on. So.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. Let's see, do we have anyone else throwing up a hand, either virtually or actually? Okay, I don't see anyone. So I think we can move on. Thank you very much, Jana. And now we are on to zoning and land use with Doris.
Okay, good evening, everyone. The Zoning and Land Use Committee met in quorum over Zoom on November 9th to hear a presentation by BRDC, the Bay Ridge Development Corporation, a 501c nonprofit organization on their plans to develop 9818 Fort Hamilton Parkway, the site of the former St. John's Church and Rectorate. Also in attendance were Bibi Esahak, the presenter of the proposal and the executive director of BRDC, and 2 other representatives from BRDC. This is an as-of-right development in an R4B zoning area with a maximum height of 35 feet. There is no request for a variance or any other zoning change. Therefore, this is an informational report with no vote required by the committee or the full board. This is an historic site. The St. John's Church was founded in the 1830s. The original wooden church was destroyed by a fire, and the current brick structure was built in the 1880s. The parish hall was built in the mid-1900s, and I do not know the history of the rectorate. The BRDC is planning to build a community facility with many uses. Those uses may include a 3K pre-K facility, an after-school program, a library, a museum, a prayer room to be used by the Islamic Society, an area for mental health and other counseling issues, a kitchen, a food pantry, a play area, and a common area that may be available for rent. This is a preliminary design. I do not believe any plans have been filed yet. The proposed building more or less adheres to the existing footprint. It's slightly deeper. It will use some of the existing architecture. On the current picture, as you can see right in the middle there, they're using some of the original structure. But the exterior is very different. It's a flat white building that includes very few architectural details from the existing structures. They will change the crawl space under the facility to create a basement and a play area. The facility will be fully ADA compliant. There will be an elevator shaft on 99th Street. An elevator shaft can go higher than the permitted height limit. It was asked if more of the original structure, particularly the church portion, could be preserved, and if red brick could be incorporated into the design to reflect the current structure and to reflect the adjacent houses on both 99th Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway. The representatives of BRDC made no commitment to those suggestions, but they did seem open. There was support for the concept and the vision of the project, but concerns that the original structures will not be recognizable. It was clear that the change will be a cultural, historical, and architectural loss for the community. Since a large portion of the space is devoted to pre-K, it was noted that now there are many pre-K facilities in CB10, and BRDC said they would look at the needs of the community as they move forward. Arts Group have used the church in the past and was asked if the facility would be open to outside arts groups. Ms. Asahak said that they would not commit to that until the facility is completed, but they have several ideas and are very open to suggestions. BRDC's current food program serves over 400 families. There are double parking issues during the food distribution on Saturday mornings. BRDC is aware and is looking at several ways to alleviate the problem. It was asked if young adults could deliver, and BRDC representatives noted that young adults man the food pantry and also make deliveries. They do not know if the proposed kitchen would prepare meals to supplement the food pantry, but they are considering. Committee members noted the need for family council, but also noted that this could bring double parking. Questions were also asked about the museum. What would be included? Can artifacts be displayed throughout the facility? Would artifacts include items from St. John's? And the museum seems to be in an out-of-the-way location. Could it be in a more focal or visible location? Concerns were raised about funding. Who will absorb the operational costs of the facility? And BRDC said they are looking at many options. And this being Bay Ridge, concerns were raised about parking for the many uses. BRDC stated that they have approached the Parks Department about using the area under the bridge, and they have been denied. Someone with an arts group who also uses the facility said that they too were denied use of parking under the bridge. And I will tell you, St. John's was denied use also. Those are the issues that were discussed. And again, the committee supported the vision, but it's sad to see there's an architectural sadness and would like to see an inclusion, a melding of the past and the future in their proposed facility. Respectfully submitted. Questions? Oh, come on.
Let's see.
Larry? Okay.
There's going to be some other religious institutions working from the same building, or?
They just said that there will be an area for observances by the Islamic Society.
Sandy and Anthony Marino, you have?
Doris, what was it? Am I mistaken? I thought this site was declared a historic.
No, it had never been landmarked.
It never was?
No.
They denied it, I think.
Yeah, because the original structure got burnt down, so
Right.
it couldn't. The original structure isn't there, so
Right.
this is a rebuilt structure, so it wasn't eligible for
And
status.
Your Confederate
also-
generals were members of the congregation, so I think,
many religious institutions do not want their properties landmarked. They value them, but the use is more important than the physical structure and how they can adapt for the communities. I learned that from a preservationist.
Okay,
Anthony.
Dr. Ramawi, did you have
Dr.
your hand
Ramawi.
up? Oh, you're muted. I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the same center which you mentioned about, which is the Bay Ridge Community Development Center on Fort Hamilton and 98th Street. I just want to reinforce that the food drive every Saturday at 11 a.m. It is for everybody. And you know, every Saturday we have a line from the Fort Hamilton up to the 5th Avenue. So many people come because it is for everybody. And this coming Saturday, there will be good things like turkeys and good things. So I invite everybody to come for that. Thank you.
And living in the area, it is clear that it serves all of the community.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Anthony, did you have a question?
No, I'm okay. I put my hand down. I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't see any hands raised in the chat. I don't see any physical hands. Oh, wait a minute. Do I see a hand raised there? Habib?
Yes, just a clarification. Of course, Dr. Rimawi is the main subject with the place, but to answer some of the question that was raised, when it says for religious observances, meaning just for the prayers, they would be doing prayers. It will be a place to do prayers. And as Dr. Rimawi said, everybody is welcome to that place. Mostly it is social and for the society, it's going to be a lot of activities for the young people. Instead of being in the streets, or bring them in to teach them after school programs and all that things. And it's open for everybody, not only for the Muslim community.
I apologize if it wasn't clear. They said there was a portion of the facility for that, but the rest of the facility was open to all.
It is
Very clear
open
about
for
that.
all. Doris, it's open for all.
That's true. Yes,
Everything
you're
is
right.
open for all.
I
Yes.
stand corrected, sir. You're right.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a quick question about the museum. I was unclear about that. Did they say what the nature of the museum portion would be? What is it a museum of? Do we know?
But Dr. Rimawi knows, and I have some idea, but Dr. Rimawi, I think he should be answering this question.
What was the question, please?
About the museum.
I can answer that, Steve.
Okay, Steve.
My understanding is from when we were there that evening was that they were going to use the facility. Oddly enough, one of the things that they wanted to show was the history of the building within there and have artifacts from the building itself in order to try to preserve the history that was there. In addition to that, they were hoping that there would be, it wouldn't be a static museum. It would be a dynamic museum where over time there would be artists that would be able to show their wares and their arts and things of that nature. But I had asked the question, I said, could they use wall space and things of that nature? And they said that they would be very open to that kind of a thing. So again, it's not a museum of one thing, all right? It's a museum that would be, maybe this year they would have a show for one thing, and then next year they'd have a show for another thing that would go on for a period of time, and then they would switch it to other things.
An exhibition.
But again, it was, I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, it's very nice. Larry?
On a historical note, the congregation was formed as in conjunction when Fort Hamilton was established in 1825. And later in the 1840s, the General Captain Lee from Virginia and Thomas Jackson they were all Army officers. They were members of the congregation. And they later went on to become Confederate generals in the Civil War. So that's that. There used to be a sign in the front of the church stating that. I don't know if in this day and age it's not to commemorate Confederate officers, but that's just an historical. That's why it was a historical site, because there was a congregation had that antebellum footnote.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony, is your hand up
is your
again?
hand raised?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just in terms of the museum, I know that I remember I was there when the church was closing down. Christ Church took a lot of the artifacts, and so a lot of the stuff that was there at St. John's is over at Christ Church. So I wonder if there's been communication to get maybe some of those artifacts back from the museum for the museum to return it to its original place. So I'd ask to see if they had an interest in doing that. My second thing, again, being someone who produced shows there for almost 10 years, I really urge anyone who's here right now that's involved with the space, please don't forget about the artists and the community groups that produce arts in Bay Ridge. It's such a robust community that are always looking for spaces to create their art and to collaborate with different groups. That was an artistic hub for over 10 years, and I hope that it can continue to be. So please, I urge you to reach out to the groups, all of the groups that create the arts in Bay Ridge. Just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Just on a follow-up, BB did say that they have been in discussion with the Episcopal Diocese about the history of the church, and we could ask that those artifacts be part of that discussion.
Yeah, because I know a lot of them ended up at Christ Church, so that would be good to follow. Just so we know where they are, right?
And she also said that they have been approached by many arts groups, so they are definitely open to making it available to arts groups.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
The Harbor Defense Museum is just inside the fort, not too far away. So the Harbor Defense Museum.
Yes, but that's a different focus.
I'm saying it here.
Yes, thank you.
The museum's very close by. They're gonna have two museums very close by.
Okay. I don't see any other hands up. One last sweep. Anybody yell if I missed you? I don't see anyone. Okay. So that would, I believe, bring us to a close on our committee reports. And I would ask, do we have any old or unfinished business that anyone would like to raise? I see Ann Flutico with her hand up. Ann.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that the amount of parking of freight trucks and automobile storage, trailer type vehicles, and many other commercial vehicles are parking around the golf course, at the Dyker Golf Course, all the way from the corner of 86th Street, completely around to the VA hospital. It gets worse and worse. And if their parking was not bad enough, they are idling while they're there, with the truckers perhaps taking opportunity to take a nap, and I understand that, but I'm surprised that Poly Prep has not joined us in this effort to make some changes there. So if there's any update, either from Josephine or from the Transportation Committee, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, Lori, if I can, I know that, I know there's a rep on the call from the 6-8 precinct. The commanding officer has talked about the difficulty of enforcement there. They have limited tow trucks, or places to tow. I mean, it is overwhelming. He had promised at the last time we spoke that the efforts would be ongoing. But I have to tell you, I agree. I think we really need to, if they can't be towed, they should be summoned every day. I mean, there's no reason why that shouldn't be taking place. The councilman, about a year ago, we tried to be a little bit creative and change the parking regulations so that there would be no standing on the overnight hours. A big portion of the, around the perimeter of the golf course, but those signs are only as good as enforcement. And if it's not going to be enforced, and I think it has to be every day. I walked there this weekend, and I agree with you. I walked around the perimeter. I took another 20 pictures that I'm going to, put together and send over. I agree. And I think it's something that we have to continue. I understand the frustration, from local residents. I'm a local resident myself, and I get it that there's not enough tow equipment, but there has to be additional enforcement to dissuade the behavior.
And there are also recreational vehicles parked there permanently. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what, the amount of car dealership cars, I mean, what I noticed too, there were temporary tags, or no license plates on the carriers, on the cars, on the, I just don't understand how they're allowed to just store. It's storage is what it is. It's illegal commercial parking overnight, but it's storage of inventory on the public streets, and that is not permitted, period.
Nadia?
Okay. I'm sorry. Barbara, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I went to the Dyker Heights Civic meeting last week, and the same story has come up month after month, and it's almost embarrassing about this parking around the golf course and also on 7th Avenue in the 70s.
Yes.
And, Josephine, if you want to have a separate meeting, we'll meet in the afternoon with the councilman, Andrew Gennardis was just so happy about how they were able to get, to tow all of these trucks from Marine Park. And I wrote on the Facebook page, and please help us do it here. So maybe we can invite Andrew and Justin and the police captain and Fran and whoever. And maybe we should have the newspapers in. If we cannot have somebody come in and tow them away, then you know what? I'm not a police officer, the same way I say I'm not an attorney, but from what I've heard, if a police officer wants overtime, they have to earn their overtime in tickets. So let them walk around the golf course every night and ticket them and ticket them and ticket them till they can be towed. I mean, we can't just keep talking about this. And we talk to the people on the community board who come to visit us. We talk to people at Dyker Heights Civic. We talk to people in the Bay Ridge Community Council. What are we doing if the only thing we do is talk and nothing really gets done? So, Big
No,
Mac
Barbara,
is
I
willing
get
to
it.
hold the meeting. I'm willing to chair the meeting to get this done. That's it. I'll put myself back on mute.
Thanks, Barbara. Judy, go ahead. You had your hand up.
Yes, I know that we enforcement, but I think that one of the problems is they don't have a place for it. So I think we have to go to the root of, I know it's not our job to figure out what a storage of cars for dealerships have to be. But just like when we had this enforcement problem with bars, and we got the bar owners together, and we kind of put them on, so maybe we have to get the car dealerships, if we could take some research of who's from the tags that you looked at, but both that and where a truck's supposed to park, if I guess, and why are they picking, I mean, they have no place to put their trucks, so we have to go to the court to find a solution, not, because enforcement, they just gonna move to another neighborhood, Barbara, they probably were the Marine Park trucks that are now here. And
But this is a residential
I
neighborhood.
understand that, but if our job maybe, because we're smarter than to say we care, that maybe we have to come up with solutions to not just get them out of here. But why are they here? Because they have no place to go.
They're here because no
Thank
one
you,
tickets
Judy.
them.
But
Go ahead, Sandy.
anyway, okay, that's my pitch. You have
Thanks,
to-
Judy. Go ahead, Sandy.
I'll have to join you. Bye.
Yeah, I agree with Josephine that the problem is enforcement, and if these guys are parking there and getting away with it without any consequence, why wouldn't they do it? I don't understand why the 68 precinct doesn't put a dedicated traffic agent just for that area. The amount of tickets that the traffic agent could write would more than supplement the traffic agent's salary. So I don't think,
Don't have the money. They don't have the money
Barbara,
anymore.
the amount of money that would come in from the summonses, and you
agree.
hit them in a pocketbook where it hurts them.
I
If
want to
they
buy a
keep getting
70-foot
summonses,
RV and
they're not
park it
gonna park
there.
there anymore.
I want to put a houseboat there.
We have to do something.
Houseboat there.
Thanks, Sandy. Jill, you have your hand up? Go ahead.
Larry has his hand up too.
You gotta wait, Larry.
Okay.
It's Jill's turn.
Just acknowledge me,
you.
that's all. Just acknowledge me.
I agree with you, Barbara, about enforcement. We had this problem with Dyke Heights lights for years with the people selling popcorn and the idling of the trucks. And the problem was the 68th precinct, I'm sorry to say, they were not giving tickets for whatever reason. I feel that's the same issue when it comes to other things being ticketed. I mean, if I parked my car on a sidewalk, I get a ticket in a second. So I really feel that there's some kind of connection between businesses or people who are illegally parking that have, situation like Dyke Heights lights, whoever owned all those vending trucks had some kind of connection. There's just no excuse. And, there's no excuse. If somebody's illegally parked, they should be ticketed, just like I would be. So I think we have to have another meeting with the 68th precinct.
I'm ready
to speak with them about it and not go by and say, okay, thank you very much. And then it happens again and again and again. You got to keep pushing.
The only thing I'm going to say about that is that I know my cousins live in Riverhead. I've met people from Italy in this neighborhood walking up the street speaking in Italian. The news begin to advertise Dyker lights all over the world. So with enforcement, I mean, I live here and you can't drive up the streets. So the enforcement with that is, how do you do that? You can't just block the streets.
No, but you're saying I'm saying that all those illegal vending trucks were not getting ticketed, even when we walked into the 68th precinct and said, these trucks are illegal, they need to be ticketed, and we were ignored.
No,
so
what happened was
but if I can just interrupt,
the veterans are allowed to do it. So they hire
we're
a
going back and
veteran.
forth on the history. Dyker was a little more convoluted. We did get the cooperation. We had multi-agency meetings. Josephine and I were out on the corner with a number of agency representatives quite a number of times. So that issue is a little bit different. And but in terms of this situation that we're talking about with the tractor trailers, yes, enforcement is definitely the primary resource that we would have right now, short of getting, more creative, which we ended up doing with Dyker. It's just that sometimes the laws that are on the books fail us, and people are very creative in finding loopholes and interesting interpretations of them, which was really what occurred with Dyker. But I do want to acknowledge Larry. I'm sorry, and thank you for waiting so
know.
patiently. Go ahead.
This is sort of with regards to the trucks parking on the street. I don't know if there's something, just, I know we don't have the land in the community district, but I mean, the city might want to consider having a truck stop operator established somewhere in the city. I mean, this is
Yeah, I
usually,
mean-
if you ever go out, hit the road, there's usually a big truck stop, and there's usually just, they stay there, and there's places, facilities that they could, eat and take showers and make telephone calls and so forth.
I mean, and yes, and I agree that, I mean, Judy and Larry make good points that there is a need, and we're in the city. There's just a lack of land for everything. Everybody's fighting for every single inch. But, the immediate issue still isn't going away. And it's been something that, again, comes up at community board meetings, right now. What we have on the books is, yes, it's enforcement. It's either, for idling or for parking where you're not supposed to be parking. And, the tool we have right now is ticketing and towing. And in the short run, it would be enforcement. So as Josephine said, we'll reach out once again and try to get that. But, great ideas have come out of this board, and we've gotten great movement and made great progress in a lot of areas. And so this may be one, like, Barbara said, we need to put our heads together and come up with something. Anne, I see you wanted to make a statement.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe instead of taking a punitive enforcement and violation approach, maybe we should volunteer the perimeter of the golf course as a dedicated bike lane with a physical barrier so nobody can park.
But actually that has come up.
Has it?
And that has come up actually, and looking at the entire perimeter of the golf course in a different way in terms of is a planning submission that we sent to a fellow to look at. But DOT did preliminary look at it and say that it didn't meet all of the requirements. I think, certain parts of the perimeter of the golf course just didn't have the width or the ability to have that. But I do think it is something to look at. And perhaps have a fellow, we do have a proposal out there to really take a look at the whole perimeter of the golf course. I agree.
Okay, Barbara, I didn't know you have your hand up again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just flashing it,
Yeah, I didn't know if you were still up from before.
No, you know what? Parking is a problem for all of us in this neighborhood. And if you're going to take away all of those parking spaces, you do have residents there, and there will be a school there, and you're going to need parking for the people in the school. So that just, take away the parking spaces for everybody because people cannot follow the law. I think that's unfair.
Well, you wouldn't be taking the parking space, away. Right now you don't have them. But if you have a protected lane, you could have parking and you could have both.
The trucks.
I'm good.
Yeah. And as Josephine did note, the rep from the 68th precinct, he is in this meeting. So he's hearing everything too. So it's being reported as we speak. Okay. Do we have any other old business?
I would just like to one follow-up comment.
Sure, Doris.
It's not just that they're parking overnight. They leave the trailers there and the cabs are gone.
Right.
So they know they can park with impunity for weeks on end.
And don't forget 7th Avenue in the 70s also.
Yes, and, they take the cabs there too?
Yes.
Trucks parked there all the time.
I live right around the corner. Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any, go ahead, Larry. You're on mute. Larry,
There were many meetings about the cross harbor railroad tunnel, and one of the ideas that I floated, no pun intended, is a special truck ferry from, say, Bayonne or Jersey City over to, say, Industry City or to the Brooklyn Army Terminal. I'm just trying to, brainstorming and things like that come up, so we won't have trucks in the neighborhood. So the trucks will go directly to where they have to make deliveries. That's
there you go. We're working on it already.
هلا مرحبا.
Thank you, Larry.
Delivery.
Okay.
Is your friends?
Do we have any new business?
Yes,
Who's
I
that?
do.
Oh, is that Julie?
Julie
Go ahead,
Thumb.
Julie.
it's not really business, but I'd like to share with my fellow board members that in memory of our former board member, Susan Pulaski, there's going to be a memorial on Saturday, December 11th. And it's going to be at the church where Susan attended services since she was a young child. And that would be at the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd in the church sanctuary. I can share this email that was sent to me, 7420 4th Avenue. And it's going to be at 2 p.m. on December 11th. I plan to be there. As you know, I had a long-term relationship with Susan. She worked with me for 11 years. So I'm definitely going to be there, but it's being, I guess, I don't want to say hosted, but the ceremony was kind of initiated by a woman named Victoria Huffmo, along with another woman, Lynn Engelhardt, who's a longtime former neighbor of mine and friend.
Thank you.
And was friends with Susan. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie.
You're welcome.
Julie, could you give that to the office? Give it
I'll
to the
send that
office so
out.
they can send it to
Yeah, I'll
everybody?
share it with with Josephine, and then she can, share it with everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other new business? I don't see any hands up. And so then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So go.
Always a hot topic. So thank you, Ruth. I've got one. I've got a second.
Good night. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Have a happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you, everyone, so much.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
Yeah,
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, that's right.
Happy
It's early
Hanukkah
this
already?
year.
Yeah.
Next week.
Wow.
It's like right after
It's
Thanksgiving.
right after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.